Imagine a farmer in a field. His plow turns over the soil. He sees a small flat piece of silver. It is not shiny, but it has strange marks on it. This small object is a punch-marked coin. It is over 2,500 years old. This tiny metal disc is not just old money. It is a piece of history. It tells a story about ancient kings. It tells a story about busy markets. It tells a story about the people who lived long ago. Coins are important because they show us how societies were organized. They show us what people valued. They connect us directly to the past in a very real and tangible way. These pieces of metal have a specific weight and design. A king or a government guarantees their value. This guarantee allows people to use coins for trade. They can buy goods. They can pay for services. Before coins, people used barter. They traded goods directly. For example, a farmer might trade a bag of rice for a clay pot. This system was difficult. Coins made trade much simpler and more efficient. The history of Indian coinage begins around the 6th century BCE. It continues right up to the digital payments of today. It shows an unbroken story of commerce and power. The earliest coins in India were not round like the coins we use now. They were often irregularly shaped pieces of silver. These are called punch-marked coins. They were made by cutting silver bars into small flat blanks. Then metal punches with different symbols were hammered onto the surface. Each symbol had a meaning. Some symbols might represent the king. Some symbols might represent a local authority. Some symbols might represent a merchant guild. These symbols guaranteed the coin's weight and purity. The idea was not to create a beautiful object, but a functional tool for the economy. Finding one of these is like finding a key to an ancient world of bustling trade routes and emerging kingdoms. These first coins appeared in the Mahajanapadas. These were the great kingdoms of ancient India: Magadha, Gandhara, Kosala. The most common symbols were the sun, a six-armed wheel, an elephant, a bull, a tree and a railing. The coins were made mostly of silver. When the Mauryan Empire rose to power around 322 BCE, it united large parts of the Indian subcontinent. This political unification brought major changes to coinage. The Mauryas continued to use the silver punch-marked coins, but they made the system more centralized. Instead of many local symbols, Mauryan coins had a more consistent set of 5 punches. One of the most common combinations included the sun symbol and the six-armed wheel. These were imperial marks, showing that the coins were issued by the powerful central authority of the emperor. This standardization helped trade flow smoothly across the vast empire, from the northern mountains to the southern plains. After the Mauryan Empire declined, a new and powerful influence arrived from the northwest. The Indo-Greeks, successors of Alexander the Great's invasion, established kingdoms in what is now Afghanistan and Pakistan. They introduced a completely new type of coin to India. For the first time, coins featured realistic portraits of the ruling kings. One side of the coin showed the king's face, often wearing a helmet or a diadem. The other side usually depicted a Greek god or goddess, like Zeus or Heracles. These coins were a powerful form of political propaganda, spreading the image of the ruler far and wide. The Indo-Greek coins also brought another innovation: bilingual inscriptions. The king's name and titles were written in Greek on one side. On the other side, the same information was written in a local Indian script, like Kharosthi or Brahmi. This showed respect for the local population and made the coins understandable to everyone. The coins of kings like Menanda I are famous examples. They were beautifully crafted from silver and were die-struck, a method where the design is hammered onto the coin blank using 2 carved dies. This technique produced much more detailed and uniform coins than the earlier punch-marking method. Following the Indo-Greeks, the Kushan Empire emerged in the 1st century CE. The Kushans controlled the lucrative Silk Road trade route, connecting Rome, Persia, and China with India. Rome, Persia, China. This trade brought immense wealth, which was reflected in their coinage. The Kushans were the first Indian dynasty to issue large quantities of gold coins. These coins, called dinars, were based on the weight standard of the Roman aureus. This made them easily accepted by international merchants. The coins of the great Kushan emperor Kanishka I are especially important. They show the king on one side and a wide variety of deities on the other, including Greek, Iranian, and Indian gods like Shiva and Buddha, reflecting the empire's diverse culture. The Gupta Empire, which began around 320 CE, is often called the Golden Age of India. Well, this era of peace and prosperity produced some of the most beautiful coins in Indian history. The Gupta emperors issued a stunning variety of gold coins known as dinars. These coins were not just for trade, they were works of art that celebrated the power and achievements of the rulers. The designs were very elaborate. For example, coins of Samudragupta show him as a great conqueror, playing the veena or performing a horse sacrifice, the Ashvamedha. The inscriptions were written in Sanskrit, using the Brahmi script, and were often poetic verses praising the king. After the decline of the Guptas, India was divided into many regional kingdoms. Each kingdom developed its own distinct coinage. In the south, powerful dynasties like the Chalukyas, Pallavas, Cholas issued coins that were different from those in the north. Their coins were often made of gold, silver, and copper. Instead of portraits, they usually featured dynastic emblems. For example, the Chola coins often had a tiger, the Pandyan coins had a fish, and the Chera coins had a bow and arrow. These symbols were a clear statement of identity and power in a politically fragmented landscape. The weights and shapes of these coins also varied greatly from one region to another. The arrival of Islamic rule in North India brought dramatic changes to coinage, starting with the Delhi Sultanate in the 13th century. Islam forbids the depiction of living beings, generally speaking. Therefore, the portraits and figures seen on earlier coins disappeared. Instead, the coins were covered with beautiful Arabic calligraphy. The inscriptions included the ruler's name and titles, the date of issue in the Hijri calendar, and often a religious verse from the Quran. The main coin of the Sultanate was the silver tanka, which became the predecessor of the modern rupee. Rulers like Muhammad bin Tughlaq were famous for their experiments with coinage, including the introduction of token copper currency. In other parts of India, powerful Hindu kingdoms continued to mint their own coins. The Vijayanagara Empire in the Deccan, for instance, issued a rich and varied coinage primarily in gold and copper. Their most famous gold coin was the pagoda, or varaha. These coins brought back religious imagery. They often featured Hindu deities like Venkateswara, a form of Vishnu, or divine couples like Lakshmi Narayana and Sita Rama. Some coins showed animals like the bull or the elephant. These coins were a powerful assertion of Hindu identity and religious devotion in a period of significant political and cultural change, circulating widely through southern India's trade networks. The establishment of the Mughal Empire in 1526 by Babur marked a new era for Indian coinage. The Mughals created a highly centralized and unified monetary system that covered almost the entire subcontinent. This system was one of the most advanced in the world at the time. The foundation of their currency was a trimetallic system: gold mohur, silver rupee, copper dam. The silver rupee was the workhorse of the Mughal economy. It was used for everything: paying taxes, soldiers' salaries, everyday trade. The Mughals paid great attention to the purity of the metal and the accuracy of the weight of their coins. The first Mughal emperors, like Babur and Humayun, followed the coinage traditions of Central Asia. However, it was the third emperor, Akbar the Great, who truly reformed and standardized the system. Akbar introduced a new silver rupee weighing around 11.5 grams. He established a network of imperial mints across his vast empire, Kabul, Bengal. Each coin was marked with the name of the mint where it was made and the year of the emperor's reign. The designs were elegant, featuring intricate floral patterns and geometric borders around the calligraphic inscriptions, reflecting the high artistic standards of the Mughal court. Under Emperors Jahangir and Shah Jahan, Mughal coinage reached its artistic peak. Jahangir was a great patron of the arts, and this was reflected in his coins. He took the bold step of reintroducing portraiture. Some of his rare and famous gold mohurs show him holding a wine cup or a flower. Even more famous are his zodiac coins. Each of these 12 coins featured one of the signs of the zodiac, like Leo the lion or Taurus the bull. These coins are masterpieces of numismatic art. Shah Jahan, the builder of the Taj Mahal, returned to purely calligraphic designs, but the quality of the engraving and the complexity of the inscriptions were exceptional. The last great Mughal emperor, Aurangzeb, was a devout and austere ruler. His personal beliefs were reflected in his coinage. He removed the kalima, the Islamic creed, from the coins. He believed that the holy words would be defiled when handled by non-Muslims, or when the coins fell to the ground. His coins were standardized and functional, but lacked the artistic flair of his predecessors. After Aurangzeb's death, the Mughal Empire began to weaken. Many regional states began to issue their own coins, often in the name of the Mughal emperor, but with their own distinct marks, signaling their growing independence. As the Mughal Empire weakened in the 18th century, European trading companies became more powerful in India. British East India Company, French East India Company, Dutch East India Company, Danish East India Company established trading posts called factories along the Indian coast. To facilitate trade, they began minting their own coins. At first, coins were imitations of local currency. British EIC in Bombay minted coins like Mughal rupees. In Madras, they minted coins like South Indian pagodas. This ensured acceptance by local merchants and rulers. The relationship between European and Indian currencies was complex. Companies needed vast amounts of silver to buy Indian goods. Textiles, spices, silver flowed from Europe and the Americas into India. Silver was melted and reminted at company mints. The British EIC gradually gained territory and power. They introduced their own designs and standards. Coins featured the company's coat of arms. Coins featured a bale mark. Coins carried inscriptions in English, Persian inscriptions, local language inscriptions. Early 19th century brought a major turning point. Territories were divided into 3 presidencies: Bengal, Bombay, Madras. Each had its own coinage system, causing confusion. Bengal rupee differed in weight and value from Madras rupee. The company moved to create a single uniform currency. They closed many old mints and built new steam-powered mints. The Coinage Act of 1835 was a landmark reform. It established a universal silver rupee, weighing 180 grains, 1 tola. Coins shared a standardized design for the first time. One side showed the British monarch's portrait, starting with King William IV. The other side showed 1 rupee in English and Persian. The machine-struck coin symbolized growing political dominance. It ended diverse regional coinages and began the colonial currency system leading to the British Raj. After the Indian Rebellion of 1857, the British Crown took direct control of India from the East India Company. This marked the beginning of the British Raj. The company coinage from 1835 stayed largely the same, with one big change. The portrait of the British monarch became the central feature on coins, signaling direct imperial rule. The first Raj coins, issued in 1862, showed the crown bust of Queen Victoria. 1862, silver 1 rupee with Queen Victoria. These coins no longer mentioned the East India Company. They instead proclaimed Victoria as queen of a vast empire, with India as its prized possession. The designs under Victoria changed over time. The initial crowned bust was replaced by a mature portrait of her as Empress of India, a title from 1877. That title appeared on coins as a clear statement of British sovereignty. The rupee reverse used an intricate floral wreath for decades. The coins were minted in silver, rupee and its fractions, copper, quarter anna, copper, half pice, occasionally gold. The mints in Calcutta produced millions of identical coins. Bombay did the same. Later, Lahore joined production. By the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the silver system faced trouble. The global price of silver fell dramatically. That created instability for the silver-tied rupee. The British moved India from a silver standard to a gold exchange standard. The rupee was fixed in relation to the British pound, backed by gold. Silver rupees still circulated, but metal value no longer fully determined purchasing power. The reform tied India more closely into the empire's global financial system. Portraits changed with each monarch. Edward VII, George V, George VI. The George V coinage had a controversy. Early rupees with his portrait showed an elephant on his coronation robe. The elephant's trunk was poorly engraved and some said it looked like a pig. That offended Muslim citizens. The coins were quickly withdrawn and redesigned. It shows coin design was closely watched as a symbol of power and respect. These imperial coins circulated until India gained independence in 1947. With independence in 1947, India faced the task of creating a new national identity. This was immediately reflected in its coinage. The portrait of the British monarch was no longer acceptable. The first coins of independent India, issued from 1950, replaced the king's head with the Ashoka lion capital. Ashoka lion capital, full sculpture. 4 lions facing 4 directions. Represents courage. Represents confidence. Represents India's peaceful ideals. The reverse of the rupee coin featured a simple ear of grain, symbolizing the country's agricultural base and prosperity. The link to the past was maintained by keeping the silver rupee at the same weight and size. In 1957, India adopted a decimal system of coinage. 1 rupee was divided into 16 annas. Each anna was 4 paise. The old system was complex and cumbersome. The new system, 1 rupee, 100 naye paise. For a few years the coins were called naye paise to distinguish them. After 1964, the word naya was dropped, called paisa. Decimalization modernized the economy and aligned with international standards. Over the following decades, the materials used for coins changed significantly. Silver, nickel, pure copper. The government gradually introduced cheaper alloys like cupro-nickel, aluminum magnesium, and later, ferritic stainless steel. The size and shape of coins also evolved. 2 rupee coin introduced. 5 rupee coin introduced. India also began issuing commemorative coins celebrating important events. Commemorative coins honoring national heroes. Commemorative coins for cultural themes. Example, Mahatma Gandhi's birth centenary coin. Example, Food and Agriculture Organization coin. These coins act as miniature monuments, educating the public about their history and heritage. Today, Indian coinage continues to evolve. New bimetallic 10 rupee coin. New bimetallic 20 rupee coin. Advanced security features to prevent counterfeiting. However, the rise of digital payments and mobile banking is fundamentally changing our relationship with physical money. While coins and banknotes are still widely used, especially in rural areas, their role in the urban economy is diminishing. Yet each coin, from the ancient punch-marked silver piece to the modern stainless steel paisa, remains a powerful artifact. It is a small, durable piece of history that tells the grand story of India's journey through time. Empires, religions, trade, and the enduring spirit